Om Prapannaparijataya Totravetraikapanaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Geetamritaduhe Namaha. Rams everyone. We are in chapter 5, Sloka number 22. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Yehi Samsparshaja Bhogaha Dukkayonaya Yevate Adyantavantah Kaunteya Nateshu Ramate Buddha Yehi Samsparshaja Bhogaha Dukkayonaya Yevate Adyantavantah Kaunteya Nateshu Ramate Buddha. So we saw in the last class these three slokas, 21, 22, 23. Bhagavan is talking about Vairāgya. So in the last sloka 21, Bhagavan said basically a person who is looking for sensory pleasures, who is attached to viṣaya-sukham, he will not be able to enjoy Ātma Sukham. Unless you let go of viṣaya-sukham, Antar Sukham will not come. And we saw why. Why? Because viṣaya-sukham can be enjoyed only when we have an attachment or an identification with the body and mind and sense organs. If we don't have an identification with the body, mind, sense organs, we will not be able to enjoy viṣaya-sukham. Or rather, as long as we are identifying ourselves with the body, mind and sense organs, we will not be able to turn inward and identify ourselves with the Ātma. So to sort of identify ourselves with the Ātma, we'll have to let go of viṣaya-sukham. So we cannot have both at the same time, and we cannot first get Antar Sukham and then let go of viṣaya-sukham. It is the other way around. First we'll have to let go of viṣaya-sukham, and then only we can enjoy Antar Sukham, Ātma Sukham. What is Ātma Sukham also we saw in the last class. Now in this sloka number 22, Bhagavan talks about viṣaya-sukham or viṣaya-sukham. And viṣaya-sukha, doṣa, the defects in the sensory pleasures, that is being called out by Bhagavan. Why Bhagavan is calling out the doṣas or defects in the sensory pleasures? So that we are able to gain Vairāgya. So this whole thing is about Vairāgya. So to get to Vairāgya, we will have to, first of all, Bhagavan said, don't get attached to viṣaya-sukham. Now how do I not get attached to viṣaya-sukham? Only by understanding the doṣas or defects in them, so that I can develop Vairāgya. So here Bhagavan explains the very swarupa, the true nature of viṣaya-sukham. The true nature of viṣaya-sukham is the true nature of viṣaya-sukham is the true nature of viṣaya-sukham, when Bhagavan talks about this, or when we do the analysis, or when we do this vichara on viṣaya-sukham, there are certain things that we would not be able to realize them, that these are the true nature, or this is the true nature of viṣaya-sukham. But if we reflect deeply on it, we will be able to understand and realize that. And in this sloka, Bhagavan also says, if we keep seeking external happiness, where will it finally lead us? That also Bhagavan is revealing here. And why does Bhagavan give this? Because we can attain Vairāgya. So this sloka is very important from it is almost like a mantra or for a mananam, for reflection. Whenever we see our Vairāgya slipping away, we can actually recollect this sloka, bring this back as mananam, so that we are able to stick to Vairāgya, so that we do not slip out of Vairāgya. So what Bhagavan says here is, or what Shastra say here is, the mind, it only sees the joy that one gets out of external sensory pleasures. It never sees the consequences. We only see at that moment what we are able to experience. What happens afterwards, we are not able to connect, we are not able to even understand. Or even if we are able to understand, we do not give importance to it. So Bhagavan here shows the other side of the coin of what happens when you have this viṣaya-sukham. This apparent pleasure that we get out of these sensory objects, what happens there? And therefore what happens, this sloka acts as our rakshaka, as our raksha, as our savior. Whenever the mind gets stretched, when we know that the mind is getting stretched, when we are aware that the mind is getting stretched, only then we will be able to bring back this sloka. Otherwise, if we let the mind rule ourselves, we will not be able to recollect. But as long as we have awareness of what the mind is capable of or what the mind is doing, then we can bring back this sloka. Now, before we go into this sloka, let's do a vichara. Let us try to understand what is the swarupa of viṣaya-sukham. Some are mentioned by Bhagavan, and some of them are not mentioned by Bhagavan explicitly. We will do a vichara on this. Bhagavan highlights two things, basically, two main doṣas of viṣaya-sukham here. One is, he says, Kṣaṇigatvam. Kṣaṇigatvam means it's momentary. The viṣaya-sukham is momentary. It's fleeting nature. And then Bhagavan says, second one, which is very important, he says is dukkha yoni. We'll come to that later. Now we'll do a small vichara on viṣaya-sukham. So let's take Kṣaṇigatvam. Viṣaya-sukham is Kṣaṇigatvam. It's fleeting in nature. What it means is, whatever be the pleasure, it lasts only for a short time. That sukham is not available either before or after the event. Take a simple example. Let's say eating a rasagulla or jalebi or whatever. We like it, we enjoy it. But if you notice carefully, what happens is, the pleasure is there only at the moment of eating. Before eating, there is only desire. That is not pleasure. And after eating, there may be some bit of either satisfaction, or there could be heaviness in the stomach, or sometimes if we had eaten too much, there could be heaviness, or sometimes if we have eaten that we should not eat, maybe we had sugar but we still have it, there could be a little bit of regret. So the pleasure is momentary. That sukham is momentary. It came, it went. And for that matter, even the first one may give you the pleasure. The second jalebi or the third rasgulla, whatever, the joy reduces. It's called as the law of diminishing utility. So the first bite gave us pleasure, but the second or third doesn't. This is called as Kṣaṇigatvam, the fleeting nature of viṣaya-sukham. And this can be applied in any sensory pleasure that we have. Suppose we prefer a company. We go to that company. Initially, the first moment when you see everybody, it's all happy. The first moment you meet everybody, it's pleasure. 20 minutes down the line, you are not happy. It's so much as you were the first minute. And then probably after speaking to some people, when you come back home, you actually regret going to that meeting. And this is how sensory pleasures work. The fleeting nature of viṣaya-sukham. And suppose if we overeat, that is stomachache. If we eat less, there could be a thought that I could have had a little more than what I should. Or if we eat even the right amount of jalebi or whatever, there is always this lingering thought that, okay, when can I have that next? When will I be able to have that next? when I'm meeting somebody or when I'm actually enjoying something, I would like to know when I'm going to have it. The viṣaya-sukham is momentary and it is never unadulterated. It is never pure. It is always tainted with something. And Shastra says it is called as dukkha mishritatvam. It is always mixed, sorrow mixed with pleasure. Bhagavan says all these viṣaya-sukhams are Kṣaṇigam. They only last for a moment. And in reality, they do not carry true happiness. And how do Bhagavan uses the term Ādyantavantah. Adi Antavantah. They have a beginning, they have an end. So it is only for that period you are going to get. This is true not only for food, this is true for any sensory pleasure. Music that we hear, a holiday we go, the fragrance that we enjoy, the comfort that we enjoy, the luxury, whatever, everything is bound by time and place. It rises, it falls. And before the experience, what happens? In the mind there is a craving. And we think that having that high craving and then fulfilling it gives us extra pleasure. Actually, it is not the case. Having a high craving and actually fulfilling it might give you extra pleasure at that moment of time, but after that, or because it is always mixed with dukkham, there will be always a case of problems afterwards. What is the dukkham? What are the different types of sorrow that we can get? We will do a vichara sometime later. But it is never the case that I am going to have a craving and therefore when I fulfill it, I am going to get extra happy. How much ever you are going to get joy out of it, so much of sorrow will follow. So before that there is a desire, there is a craving, I enjoy, and after that what happens? It is either boredom. Sometimes if I get bored out of being in that environment, or bored eating the same thing, or there is a sense of dissatisfaction also. So this is Kṣaṇigam. The second dosha Bhagavan mentions here, and this, as I said, must be reflected deeply by us. It must be. The second dosha is dukkha yoni. Yoni means source, cause. Every viṣaya-sukham is a cause for sorrow. And Bhagavan uses the term eva. Dukkha yona evate. Evate. Eva means it is only sorrow. But it doesn't mean that, as in evate means here it is indeed source of sorrow. It doesn't mean only, because Bhagavan agrees that there is a sukham when you go and enjoy this viṣayam. There is a sukham in sense pleasures, no doubt. But dukkha yonaya evate, but they are also and indeed sources of sorrow only. And how is this indriya sukham? We are talking about indriya sukham now. Viṣaya-sukham or bahya-sukham or indriya-sukham are all one and the same. How is this indriya-sukham cause for sorrow? We will take some examples. Suppose one person earns good income through his business. And suppose a person is quite rich and he lives a comfortable life. And due to some loss, maybe he had invested it wrongly, whatever, he loses everything and he falls into poverty. This is one person. Having lived a good life, comfortable life, and then he falls into poverty. Then there is another person who is living a simple life because he is not earning much, just earning for his basic needs. And he too loses his savings and he becomes also poor, so to speak. Now both are in the same situation, both are same poor situation. Now the question that we need to ask is, who will face more dukkham? Who will feel more dukkham? Clearly, the one who had enjoyed more Sukham earlier will feel more sorrow now. The steeper the fall, the deeper the pain, the greater the sorrow. So the one who has had less Sukham earlier, he will also feel the pain. He will also go into sorrow. But the pinch, it will not be that much. So what we should learn is the cause for sorrow is Sukham itself. Viṣaya-sukham becomes the seed for dukkha. So dukkha yoni, cause for sorrow. There is also another reason why we feel sorrow about this. Why Viṣaya-sukham becomes the cause for sorrow is because the Viṣaya-sukham has got an enslaving power. Thing is, whatever object we get into contact repeatedly, eventually it makes us a slave. The more we actually enjoy, or the more we get in touch with it, repeated exposure, it creates attachment. And once we are attached, there is a dependence. I need that, or I am unhappy without it, or I can get happiness only from that. So there is it becomes a bondage. So what started as an enjoyment, it ends up as bondage. Very small example that we say, suppose probably when we all grew up in our early childhood, we did not have any air conditioning environment. We always had only fans at the most. Now we've been sitting in air conditioned environment. Over a period of time, what happens is the air conditioning, we are so attached now, it has enslaved us. If air conditioning is not working, then we feel unhappy, we feel sorrow. Because what started as an initial enjoyment in our early childhood days is now become a bondage. In the beginning, when we indulge with those things, it may not seem addictive. These are small things. I mean, I'm not saying that we should not be using aircon or everything, but this is just for us to reflect how sensory pleasures, initially they may seem as indulgence, may result in bondage. Over time, over abhyasa, what happens is constant repetition, it becomes a compulsion. And it is true for even the negative vices also. In fact, for the vices, what happens is initially when they start, for example, drinking or smoking, they put a lot of effort to like it. It is not even an indulgence to in the beginning. There is a lot of discomfort when you smoke or drink for the first time. But then what happens, over a period of time, they cannot be without it. So question we have to ask ourselves is, do we wish to be independent or do we wish to be enslaved? And remember, what is this whole study of scriptures for? It is for moksha. Moksha means freedom, liberation. We want to be freed from the entire world. And this ordinary object is capable of binding us. So what can be a greater sorrow than that? And what happens, as I said, anything we start overusing that. Initially it might start as a luxury, but then it ends up as necessity. I gave an air conditioning example. If you go for a few more generations before, even footwear was a luxury for our grandparents and others. Electricity in our home was a luxury. Today, both footwear as well as electricity, they have become necessities. And that is the problem with this Maya, samsara. This Maya will convert, the Maya is capable of converting all the luxuries into necessities. So it increases our bondage. Whereas what is moksha? Moksha is the reverse process. We have to convert even necessities into luxuries. What is a necessity? The basic necessity for a human being is the body. Not even after that comes clothes and others. The body and mind are necessity. Without body and mind, I will not be able to study Vedanta. I will not be able to do sadhanas. A good healthy body is a good healthy mind is a necessity. So, a serious seeker will consider even this body and mind as luxury. And the day that we are able to completely identify this body and mind as luxury is the day that we have attained moksha. But samsara, Maya makes us feel that every object is a necessity. Forget the body and mind. Every object around us is a necessity. And some people get angry if they are not able to get what they want. I have already told, I need only 3 idlis for breakfast every day. Or I need only no rice for the night. And if somebody accidentally serves rice or you have to eat rice for that day, they become angry. So we convert even necessities into luxuries. And everything becomes a necessity. Being enslaved. Some people ask, why not I get attached? What is the problem? It will result in dukkham. In fact, let me put this way. Wherever there is sorrow, there is attachment. You take any sorrow, and if we actually do a analysis, the root cause will be attachment. So why should we not get enslaved? Because it results in sorrow. So that is dukkha, cause for sorrow is basically the steeper the fall, the more the sorrow. If I am not able to get it, there is a sorrow. Now the next thing is doṣa is viṣaya-sukham is also the cause for fear. See, whenever we enjoy some sensual pleasures, right? If we notice what is happening quietly within us, what will happen is there will always be this, even as we are enjoying, there will be always this subtle fear. What if I lose this? What if the person leaves me? What if this relationship doesn't last? What if this enjoyment that I am having will not be forever? What happens if I lose my health? So the more pleasure we derive, the stronger the fear of losing it becomes. So the indriya sukham, it seems to give happiness, but it can also be the cause for fear, bhaya. And even as we are enjoying it, the mere thought that, I might lose this, forget losing it actually. The mere thought that I might lose it, it can create anxiety. And what we do? We start protecting it. We start worrying about it. We start clinging to it. We start talking about it. We are not able to remove our mind away from that object. It can be wealth, it can be possession, it can be relation, anything. And in that process, what we do? We lose our peace of mind. But on the other hand, if we are not seeking viṣaya-sukham, we see as what it is, then that object will not have any power to create fear in us. Neither will it enslave us, nor will it create any fear in us. If it exists, we can use it. If it is not there, I am not bound by it. If it is there, I am okay. If it is not there, I am even okay. And that's why what happens, as we accumulate more possessions around us, we also accumulate fear. Wealth we are accumulating to provide us security. In the so-called golden age, retired life, we are accumulating wealth so that it can provide us security. But then what happens? Even as we are accumulating wealth, we are providing security to that wealth. We are making sure it's kept in the locker, it does not get stolen, it's making sure it doesn't go into a loss. We are following up with the stock market, we are following up with it. We are ensuring, we are holding on to it so that we are providing security to the wealth itself. So as we grow rich, what happens? As we come with a lot of possessions and comforts, what happens? What will happen if I lose this? Will someone take it away? That thought constantly comes in our mind. There is always this source of bhaya. Bhoga becomes the source of bhaya. So the greater the attachment, the greater the fear of loss. So, first of all, viṣaya-sukham is only momentary. And secondly, it is not a source of freedom, it can enslave us. Now, third thing, it is the cause for fear. Another thing that about viṣaya-sukham is, in Kathopanishad, Nachiketa says, he says, Jarayanti Tejaha. He says, whichever indriyas, whichever sense organs are being overused in the pursuit of sensory pleasures, they become weak. The very organs, they become weak, they lose their vitality. So if I am using my eyes for watching a lot of, Instagram reels or Netflix movies or going around trying to seek pleasure out of my eyes, then Jarayanti Teja. It will lose its vitality, it will weaken. And a weakened sense organ will become a dukkha yoni. So the cause for sorrow, if you look at it, cause for sorrow is the more steeper we fall, the cause, the higher the sorrow. So the more higher we go, the more attached we are, it gives you more sorrow. Because of fear, we get sorrow. And now a weakened sense organs will also give us sorrow. Dukkha yoni. Another thing that we'll have to, if we do uchara, we'll see, has in our life experience, has there been any object in this world, or has there been any person in this world, any relation, any possession, anything that we have in this world which can give us total lasting satisfaction 24/7? Never. Nothing. Whether it can be our spouse or children or our parents, in terms of relationships or in terms of objects, wealth, nothing has been able to give us total lasting satisfaction. Whatever we had enjoyed, there is always this lingering feeling, I could have had more. It's whether it's a job also. I wish, I like my job, but only I wish my boss was different. Or my boss is nice, but if only I had been given more salary. There is always this atripti karatvam. Atripti karatvam is the inability of the objects to give us complete fulfillment. And that becomes a cause for sorrow. Our cause behind our sorrow, dukkha yoni. So apart from Kṣaṇigatvam, if we look at it, viṣaya-sukham can cause a steep fall. The higher the indulgence, the deeper the sorrow. So dukkha yoni 1. Dukkha yoni 2 is it enslaves us. What begins as enjoyment, it soon turns out to be, we are addicted and therefore we are dependent, and therefore when it is not there, it becomes a cause for sorrow. Third thing, it is cause for sorrow because it creates the fear of losing. The fear of losing will disturb our peace. The fourth thing is it weakens the sense organs, and as the sense organs become weak, jarayanti tejaha, we become unhappy. Finally, it never fulfills us. It is all the things in the world, in the whole samsara, this whole prapancha. It is inherently apurnam, atrupti karatvam. Satisfaction is always incomplete. Swamiji says, when he says, I am already apurnam, because I am looking for somebody to come, for weddings they will say, I'm looking for a partner who can make my life feel complete. They use this term. So Swamiji used to say, you are already incomplete, the other person is also incomplete. How will an incomplete person be able to give completion to you? It's not possible. So to expect completion, to expect, not that we shouldn't marry, but to expect fulfillment from the other person, to feel that my life becomes fulfilled by being with that person, that is not correct. That may be foolishness. But there are other reasons why we should get married. Marriage gives us maturity. Marriage gives us the ability to develop titiksha, to develop sharing, to develop, to do dharma, to do panchamahayajnas, to grow together. But it is not for fulfilling. For fulfillment, only Brahman alone can fulfill. Only Brahman is the Purna Vastu. Nothing else in this world. So anyway, these are the other sides of Bhoga. What we can say is the hidden reality. Not that the realities are hidden, but we don't reflect. And even if we don't reflect, because we are so addicted that I don't want to see the negatives. So unless we use our intellect, we reflect, we will not be able to see them. And for that we require a mature mind. That maturity in the mind to see these doshas is called Vairāgya. Because we reflect, because the mind recognizes these defects. And these defects are its true nature. It's not that we are actually superimposing something on top of it to make us feel good about it, to make us get Vairāgya. It is the true nature of these objects. By reflecting on that, by actually understanding and being able to recognize these doshas, the mind is able to get dispassionate. That dispassionate mind is called Vairāgya. Or that dispassion is called Vairāgya. So, Bhagavan says, do not seek viṣaya bhoga. And Bhagavan mentions two things here, Kṣaṇigatvam, dukkha yoni. Dukkha yoni, we have done the analysis. Actually, there are many doṣas on viṣaya. We can actually, if we reflect, if we are a serious seeker, when we reflect, we will be able to see. When we will be able to, as we learn Vedanta, our mind becomes subtle, our intellect becomes subtle. We are able to see and understand why things happen the way they are and why we should not get affected by them. Even people's minds may be visible to us, or why they do the things the way they are. It is not for that reason we should study Vedanta, or we shouldn't be going around. But the idea is the mind and the intellect become subtle, we are able to see them. The benefit that we have to gain out of it is Vairāgya, not for actually reading other people's minds. It is, we should use this to cultivate Vairāgya. So if you go to the Sloka, yehi samsparshaja bhogaha, ye bhogaha, those pleasures, viṣaya-sukham, ye bhogaha. And what sort of bhoga? Bhagavan gives some lakshana here. What sort of bhoga these are? Samsparshajaha. Jaha means born of. Samsparsha means contact. Born of contact. Samsparshaja. Born of contact between what and what? Born of contact between sense organs and sense objects. It's born out of contact between indriyas and viṣayas. Dukkha yonaya eva te. Te dukkha yonaya eva. They are dukkha yonaya, source of sorrows eva only. They are sources of sorrow only. Yonaya, Bhagavan says plural sources. Multiple. They don't give one sorrow, they get different kinds of sorrow. That is what we analyzed. What are the different types of sorrow that we can get? And Bhagavan says, Eva. There is no doubt, do not have any doubt that these viṣaya-sukhams are sources of sorrow. They are sources of sorrow. We say, no, but they give me happiness also, or they give me joy. Yeah, they do not give you sorrow at the time of experiencing. That is for sure. They give you sukham at that point of time. But clearly they are all cause for sorrow. Now in the second line, Adyantavantah kaunteya. Adi antavantah. Adi, beginning, anta, end. Vantah, they have a beginning and an end. All these sensory pleasures, they have a beginning and an end. We cannot have I cannot have lifelong jalebis or rasagullas throughout for all my food. I cannot have them. Or just because I like a person, I cannot be with that person 24/7, 365 days a year. Lifelong I cannot be with them. So they have, every pleasure has got a beginning and an end. Nateshu ramate buddha. Now Bhagavan talks about wise person. Buddha means wise person. Jnanis. And jnanis, how do they actually, what is their attitude towards this viṣaya-sukham? He says, na ramate. They do not revel. Teshu, in them. Who does not revel in them? The Buddha, the wise person. Jnanis do not seek enjoyment from viṣaya-sukham or from viṣayas. It is not that the jnanis do not experience viṣayas. They do experience viṣayas. They do come in contact with these same sense objects. They experience viṣayas. But they do not seek viṣaya-sukham. They do not see that as a bhoga vastu. Jnanis, as much as possible, will use their sensory organs only for the purpose of transaction and living, not for the purpose of enjoyment. How do I not seek enjoyment? When can I come to a stage where I do not seek enjoyment from all these things? Is it possible to be somebody who do not seek enjoyment? It is possible. Should I force myself? No, you should not force yourself. Should I force myself and withdraw from all these sources of enjoyment from tomorrow? No, that will be disaster. You will get into a depression. So what should I do? One should perform karma yoga. as we do Karma Yoga. What is Karma Yoga? Doing my duties irrespective of whether I like it or not like it. And taking all experiences as only Ishvara Prasada. So there is no joy or sorrow. Whatever is Ishvara Prasada. By doing that slowly, my mind will develop Vairāgya. That is the way to develop Vairāgya. There are certain things that I can try to come out of it. If I am actually... There are three ways to do it. One is actually pulling myself out of it. If it is something that is relatively new, fresh, and I am actually slightly, seemingly getting attached to it, I can pull myself out of it. I can force myself out of it. There will be some temporary withdrawal symptom which I'll be able to overcome, and then I'll be able to come out of it, develop Vairāgya on it. That's one way. The second is actually continuously doing Karma Yoga. And slowly Karma Yoga itself will convert my mind in such a way that I develop Vairāgya on certain objects, which it would have been difficult for me to withdraw at that point of time earlier, but because of Karma Yoga, it comes out easily. Then there are third categories which are actually deeply attached to me. I am attached deeply to them or to it. For that we will take its own time. You cannot withdraw, that object must withdraw from you. It will take some time. So we should be intelligent enough to know for which object what we should be applying. That we can reflect to see. This is the Sloka for 22. 23 we'll take in the next class. Are there any questions or comments? And I want to also attend to that query that came on the group with regards to the karma. Are there any questions before I go to that karma topic? Okay. So there was this Swamiji's message which I had shared on the group, where Swamiji had said, grow out of karma, enter, grow and grow out. So it's like enter the womb, grow and then come out. Similarly, enter the college, study and then graduate. Enter the karma and then grow out of karma. So one question that was asked was, what is karma? There are multiple meanings for karma. What is the karma that is meant or referred in this context? So whilst I am actually doing it, can we make it interactive? Can we say what are the different types of karma that you come across? Is that something that you would want to take? Somebody wants to pick up different types
Kamya karma.
Kamya karma. Okay.
Agami karma. And
so how do we classify karmas? Can we classify? It's okay. What are the different meanings of karma? Okay. So, yes, Ashiji.
I'm saying action both
yes.
Physical, mental, emotional.
So one is action. One meaning of karma is action.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then duty. Yes, duty is another one. So nitya naimittika karma we say. Nitya naimittika karmas are all considered to be duties. That is one other second category that we can say. Yes, Karthik ji, you want to say something?
I don't know.
Okay. So one is action, the other one is duties as prescribed by scriptures. Say nitya karma, naimitika karma. So when we say action, karma action, action can be physical, verbal or mental action. As you said, Ashish ji, walking, speaking, thinking, all those things are actions. That is one meaning for action, karma. Then you have nitya naimitika karmas, which is basically duties as prescribed by Shastras, based on your varna and ashrama. So you have Sandhyavandana, puja, family duties and all those responsibilities, and all those things are nitya naimitika karma. Then the third is Vaidika karma. For example, you have this Vedic rituals, yajnas, homas that you do, vratas that we do, These are all not Nitya Naimitika karmas, but Vaidika karma that is done for a specific purpose, either for gaining something or for progressing spiritually. Then you have, we also use the word karma for karma phala also. For example, we say these are all my karma, and when we say karma phala, these are results of actions. So that is also sometimes called as karma. The results of our actions which has come in the form of punya or papa. So karma phala is also considered to be, sometimes we use karma. Then and this karma phala is normally it's also this can be said to be prarabdha karma, we can say. In other words, karma phala we can say to be fate. Even the fate is sometimes referred as karma. What we consider as fate is nothing but our prarabdha karma, our own karma coming as a result in the form of situations, in the form of painful or joyful situations. Then you have sanchita prarabdha agami karmas. Karthik ji, you mentioned. The sanchita karma is the bundle of karma that we have accumulated over all these lives. Prarabdha karma is the karma that we have actually plucked out from this sanchita karma for experiencing in this life, and agami karma are the karmas that we are accumulating in this life. That's also karma. Then finally we have the karma is also referred sometimes as karma yoga. Karma yoga is basically the duties that are performed with the right attitude, Ishvara Arpana Buddhi, Prasada Buddhi. This is also karma. So here when Swamiji says karma here, Swamiji says Varnashrama karma. Varnashrama karma is basically the Nitya Naimitika karma that is prescribed by the Shastras based on whatever be the Varna or Ashrama. The duties and responsibilities depending on the stage of life that you are in and depending on the Varna that you are in. So that is the Varnashrama karma. Now the question is, if knowledge gives me liberation, why should I do this Varnashrama karma? Why should I come into this stage of karma, doing karma and getting out of karma? The reason is clear. To get the knowledge, one must have a purified mind. And one to have a purified mind can be got only by performing karma. Not performing karma just by doing any ritual or by just doing any action. When we say doing karma here, it means doing the duties, doing all the actions prescribed by Shastras, but more importantly, performing it as karma yoga, performing it as Ishvara Arpana, performing it as Ishvara Prasada, doing this Panchamahayagnas, doing all whatever is being prescribed by us. So through karma yoga, the mind gets mature. The mind gets Vairāgya. We just talked about it. The mind will get Vairāgya. As we do karma yoga, we will be able to build on this Vairāgya. Why Vairāgya? Because there will be a reduction of selfishness. There will be a reduction of likes and dislikes. There will be a greater acceptance of things and people around us. So if you look at it, as we do karma yoga, our emotional balance becomes much higher. Our EQ becomes higher. There will be less anxiety in our mind. We will be able to sleep properly. We will not be affected by situations. And therefore, slowly the likes and dislikes get reduced. Vairāgya becomes higher. The mind becomes purer. Then the pure mind is ready for receiving the knowledge. So that is why Swamiji says, enter the womb, grow, come out. Similarly, enter karma, purify the mind, but we cannot be purifying the mind and get attached to these actions. I love these karma yoga so much, I want to continue to do karma yoga. No, you cannot do that. You will have to move out. And you will have to move to this knowledge. You will have to seek knowledge, because only knowledge will give a liberation. So we will have to grow out of karma also. Just like when we enter a college, we want to study. I cannot be studying throughout my life. I will have to put my study into experience. I will have to start working. I cannot say that I want to study throughout my life. Yeah, you can study, but you cannot use that as your full-time job. Same thing with karma also. Once you come to Jnana Yoga, it is not that you are not going to do duties and all. You will continue to do these duties. But you will be focusing more on knowledge. What it means is, I am not depending on karma for fulfillment anymore. More and more time I spend on knowledge. And I am able to get this feeling that earlier when I was doing karma yoga, I am the doer. Now I am the Ātma, I am the akarta Ātma. I get that clarity when I move into this knowledge phase. And when we say grow out of karma, it doesn't mean that I am dropping all actions. I am not stopping any action physically. And it doesn't mean you should drop any actions also. If we drop any actions, it could be either because you are irresponsible or you are lazy. We should continue to do the actions, but focus more on knowledge. So I am actually focused. So karma yoga has purified my mind, and my mind is good enough now. I'll focus on knowledge. That's the idea behind that. As long as we are in the society, we should continue to perform actions. As long as our prarabdha determines that we should be in the midst of action, we should continue to do action. Should not run away from action. But at the same time, our mind should be mature enough to say that these actions are not going to give me fulfillment. The fulfillment comes out of my understanding that I am that Satchit Ananda Swarupa Brahman. That is what it means in this, according to the Swamiji's quote. Any other points, any other questions? Okay. If not, we'll probably stop here. We'll again meet in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Hari Om.